So I now have 2 holidays booked. I had a little bit of a problem though because my uncle. I thought that the holiday that my uncle booked with my mum was in the second week of May, but it was actually in the third week on the 8th. Yeah, when I kind of realized this, I realized I needed to book straight away. I needed to book a train ticket straight away, because you only get the cheap tickets online on this sort of app that I use, if you book like 2 weeks in advance. So I needed to book up really quickly. So I booked that up on Friday, and it was £70, so a lot more than what. Well, I think most of the discounts is actually just to like the main cities, and because this place that I'm going to is just like a really small town. I couldn't really. They don't do cheap tickets on small towns. It's mostly just some city to city. So I spent £70 on this ticket to get to this small location that's down near Exeter, and then yeah, I thought it was fine. And then my sister called up today or yesterday, last night, saying that she too has booked a holiday so that we can go at the same time. And then I was like, well, what dates did you choose? And she was just like, well, I didn't know what dates you were going, so I booked it for the 5th to the 8th. And it's just like, yeah, well, mine's from the 8th to the 13th. So she booked it on a day that we're not going to be there, and she's supposed to be leaving the day that we arrive. So yes, this was a bit of a problem. But then I realised that she's bought a caravan for 3 nights, which is only £100, so super cheap, which I guess is the reason why she booked it without even thinking. She just saw the price. Wow, 3 nights, £100, 6 people, great. But yeah, it's so if she had have booked at the same time that we were going, well, we wouldn't be able to stay there because we've already got booking. So it actually worked out to be better that she randomly chose the wrong dates. She wasn't thinking properly. I mean, surely if you're thinking properly, you would say, what time are they going to be there? And well, if they're staying in a hotel, why would we book a 6 people hotel at the same time as them? You know, surely the dates that she booked should be the dates that she booked. But if she would have known that we were actually booked for later, she probably would have booked for later. Actually, no, I think she said there was a discount on these specific days, so that's the main reason why she chose it. She chose it because it was the cheapest. But yes, I had to basically buy another ticket, and this one was £50 for a single journey, so very expensive. And but because I get the £28 on the refund of the other ticket, it actually works out to be only £23 more than what I was going to pay, which isn't that bad. But then I just had after I booked it this morning, I had a random look just to see, because I realised that the place that Sophie's staying is probably actually closer to Newton Abbot than this other place, and I just randomly decided to see how much is it to Newton Abbot, even though they're only like one stop apart. But it turns out that actually, if I would have gone for that one, it would have been 37 and not 50. So, but yes, that is very annoying to think that they are so close, and yet I'm paying an extra £12 just to go one step. Well, actually, it's 2 steps further, because I thought I was changing the ticket from I was originally going to Paynton, and Sophie, this place that the cabin that Sophie's bought is actually. It's probably nearer to Newton Abbot than Torquay, but it's kind of like on the edge of Torquay, so 2 stops earlier. And yes, because I thought I was changing the ticket, I kind of booked it to the same location, thinking that I can't change. And then when I was talking to the person online, she kind of indicated that actually, instead of paying the £10 to change the ticket, she's just going to cancel the ticket and buy a new ticket. Hence, I could have just chosen to go straight to Newton Abbot and pay 37 instead of whatever. I don't want to think about it. It's stressing me out thinking about it. But yes, this is kind of what my family is like, doing things without talking to each other and just assuming that. But yeah, also not having much logic. You know, if she was planning on booking this at the same time we were down there, well, then we wouldn't have been able to kind of like be in the same caravan, unless that was the point. But we can't go down on Monday. I would have booked for Monday, but there's a train strike on Monday, so all the trains are cancelled, and I am not paying £50 to spend 6 hours in a coach. There's a limit to how much I want to spend in a coach. 3.5 hours is the absolute most that I want to spend in a coach, just sitting on a chair. Nice coach is fine. There might be some nice coaches that are like luxury where you can walk around, but yeah, a normal passenger coach for more than 3 hours is not nice. And it's about 6.5 hours to get there, but by train it's only 3 hours. And it's also annoying to think that if I would have just gone to Newton Abbot, I could have got there in 3 hours rather than 3.5 hours. So I have to wait half an hour for a train that I don't actually want and pay £12 for it. Whatever. I'm I am thinking about AJ Miller and how I can tell you how I wanted it to be. Okay, I'm Christ, and I would have wanted to meet AJ Miller by some people talking to me and saying, yes, we believe you're God, and yes, we're going to give you some funding. So taking me in some sort of limo or flight, limo or not limo, this nice car to an airport, then going in a nice plane to Australia or wherever he is, and then bringing him to some nice resort, and then sitting by a nice pool and just kind of saying, yes, I believe that you're Jesus and that I'm going to help with funding or whatever. That's one of the things that I envisioned. Another thing I envisioned was there being like some sort of official government type looking building, and then like a bunch of like Obama and a bunch of presidents or ex-presidents or just people that are recognized in as being high up in the government, them being like, yeah, you're going to meet our leader, and then AJ coming into that room where I am, and then me being like, yeah, I'm Eve, and this, and but the world don't want me, they don't want you either, but they think they want you, so that's better than what they feel like towards me. Yeah, that's how I would have envisioned it. That's how I would have wanted it to be, but instead I feel like it's actually going to be him just having some crappy meeting an hour and a half away, and then me getting on a train by myself, going all the way down there, then cycling the next 20 minutes in a bike, and then just saying, hi, I believe I'm Eve, and then him just being like, yeah, you're not, and then that's it. I don't know. That is not how I envisioned it. I think when it comes to this world, I just need to have the lowest expectation possible, because then I might not be disappointed. I wish I were drunk right now. And I've mowed my garden though. You can't really see it, but I've mowed my garden. My garden is quite nice. And my bra strap's not on. And yes, what? I don't know. Is something going to happen this year with the, I don't know, Popes died. I'm not in favour of the popes, but because I don't believe any of them worship me, and it's incredibly annoying to know that billions of pounds have been made by the church, and yet I didn't get a penny of it, and it's all just promoting a religion that's against me. There's so many people that are like, you're the Antichrist, you're the Antichrist, you're the Antichrist, whereas if someone told me that I'm the Antichrist, I'll just be like, well, is Jesus your Christ? Well, then I'm proud to be the Antichrist, because I don't like your Christ, because your Christ is not the real Christ, and therefore, why is there no proudly, I'm Antichrist? Yes, because I'm anti-Jesus and I'm not your Christ. There's two types of people. There's people who think that going is being godly, when really that's just being a fool. And there's another type of person that is proud to be anti-Jesus. And I recognize that Jesus also means the average person, but I am proud to be against the average person, because I think the average person is a bunch of robots. And I'm feeling horrible every single day, because I know that I can't just walk up to someone and say, I'm God, do you care? Because they're just going to say, no, you're not, and then they're just going to walk off and look at me like I'm a freak, and that's as much as far as I'm going to get. And therefore I just feel like humans are just robots that are not programmed to look for information. Don't look for truth, don't look for evidence, don't look for proof. It's just have faith. You are saved by faith through grace, and grace is just some sort of wind that goes flying through the sky. It's nothing. They worship nothing, and yet they are proud to worship nothing. They are proud of their faith, and I am just angry at them for having faith, because faith cannot prove anything. Faith is something you have when you have nothing. So why do you want nothing? If you put your trust in evidence and proof, then you don't have faith. You have more than faith. You have you know, confidence that what you're saying is truth. And I'm angry because I don't have anyone to support me. And but yes, my mum has got another meeting with this court of law. They're taking my mum to court of law for like an 8th time over this molestation order that she is saying is ridiculous and bogus and shouldn't be allowed to be processed. And they're just saying, right, how can we make more money out of this? How can we bring people into this ridiculous joke courtroom and try and just... Apparently she got a letter from the High Court saying that they haven't bothered to read her statement yet. It's been years and years and years and still they haven't bothered to read her statement. And it's all about the statement. Not logic, not actually working out, like, is this ridiculous? She said the last time she went into court, the court person, the person at the court was actually angry that so many cases like this were coming into his courtroom. Family, one asshole saying, I want this person to have nothing to do with my kid, so I'm going to get a molestation order. Apparently my sister just said, oh fuck if I don't care, you want a molestation order, okay, whatever, I'll accept it, whatever. And then she went into court, put her fingerprints down, and this is a high court, all done by a high court, no reason, no cause, and it's now left a child completely motherless, and she has no right to go over to see her child because she just accepted it. Okay, that's what she did. My mum, however, did not accept this molestation order. And so because of this, she has to go into court every couple of months to try and explain her actions, even though her actions were simply just, he sat next to me in a courtroom and I said a couple of words to him and he's complained and now it's taken to the High Court. Why the fuck would things like this be going to the High Court? I don't know, but I think humans are fucking brain dead and I think your courts are jokes. This is a joke. This is not a courtroom. This is just people trying to think, how can I invent a job? I don't have a job. I don't have enough people coming in. There aren't enough people that I'm fucking up their lives. So we need to try and find as many people who have got these ridiculous statements that I need to read, and then I'm just going to refuse to read it whilst making them come into court every few months just so that I can try and justify having a paycheck. This is all this is, and it's really, really pissing me off. You know, social services does not give a shit about kids. If they gave a shit about kids, they would analyze things properly and they would actually try and work out, is this actually for the benefit of the child or is this just for the benefit of me making a paycheck at the end of the month? And I think this is all just about a paycheck, and I think the reason why it's all just about a paycheck is because house prices are so fucking high that these people need paychecks, and therefore everyone just values money. How can I pay the bills? Rather than think, what is the problem? Oh, the fact that the houses are way more expensive than they need. You know, houses cost so much to build, and then you need to spend like 4 times as much on the land to build it, and then you need to spend a bunch of money on trying to get planning permission. Now, planning permission is important, definitely, but the planning office is taking months and months and months, delaying things and making problems worse for people because they've got a bunch. They want to just get started, do the project, move on. And yeah, and then you've got lots and lots of false courts that are just trying to... I've heard a lot of people saying you're getting arrested for free speech. Like, if you say, oh, speak English to an Asian person, apparently that's called a hate crime and you can get arrested. But I don't even know if I believe these, because that sounds ridiculous. Was that a real policeman who made that? There was a video about police officer approaching someone because they said to an Asian person, speak English. Have you got nothing better to do? Have you got nothing better to do than to complain about that?